Hi, this is Karen Dean, and on today's journal, we're discussing the risk factors of diabetes. So, I did the assessment that was assigned to us, and basically, I have essentially two risk factors. Number one is one that I have no control over, which is hereditary. Um, However, according to the research, people whose mother have diabetes has a greater risk to get the disease than one whose father has the disease. In my case, however, it was my grandfather that had the disease. Neither my mother nor my father had the disease. So I guess that more or less neutralizes me. It doesn't make me non-susceptible, but probably far less than someone whose direct parent has the disease. The second risk factor that I found that I had was being overweight. That can just simply be addressed by eating a healthier diet and getting out and exercising a little bit more than what I have in the past. The next question that was asked was to examine the relationship between health and wellness by discussing the impact of diabetes mellitus on at least three dimensions of wellness. So on one aspect of the impact of diabetes is on the physical. I think that's kind of obvious. That has to do with your diet and the amount of exercise that you get. If either of those are lacking, then you are going to be more susceptible to obesity, thus making you more prone to diabetes. The second aspect that I chose of wellness is directly related to the former, which is actually environmental, or some might even argue social. You, as far as in my opinion, you are a product of the environment in which you grew up in. So, if you are surrounded by people who eat or prepare food in an unhealthy manner, that's all you've learned. Or if you do not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables at your neighborhood stores, that is also going to have a greater impact on your behaviors and how you reflect those behaviors. It's things that you've learned, and if that's all you saw, the only way you had food prepared, then this is what you've learned to pattern yourself into doing those same type of behaviors once you get out of that environment. So I think that environment or your social, the social status, people who are around you, this is how they choose to eat, then you're going to be impacted. The last wellness behavior I would say is intellectual. Yet again, that ties to the prior one. With intellectual, because if you are uninformed about your health and where it can lead you if you don't make certain choices, then you can and probably will suffer the consequences of that. So if you are uninformed intellectually, then you are destined to repeat patterns that you've learned on an environmental side. And then if on your environmental side, if you are practicing these type of behaviors, it impacts your physical. You're not choosing healthy diets, you're not exercising, because it's all interconnected. Finally, the last thing was to identify 3 lifestyle habits that a person can practice to reduce his or her risk of type 2 diabetes. And yet again, we're going to tie this all back to the theme here. You have to maintain a normal weight, you have to exercise regularly, and you have to eat a low-fat and high-fiber diet. I think if you do those things, you will greatly lower your chances of becoming a diabetic. At least these things are within your control. Okay, thank you. That's it.